All right, kicking off another brand new hour of the Steve Gruber Show. Getting in another brand new day. Thank you for being here. A lot to cover today as we fight for you from the foxhole of freedom here in Studio G. Remember, we trigger a lot of enthusiasm for America every day. You too can be caught up in it. You have been warned. Here are three big things you need to know. Number one, the case against the latest Chinese agent who attempted to poison America's food supply has been revealed in a mugshot. This is the biggest story not enough people are talking about. Number two, who is footing the bill for the violent protests in Los Angeles and elsewhere? You may be surprised, and you'd be disappointed at the criminal activity in migrant shelters in America, too. Number three, the federal government isn't messing around with these riots in L.A. Two individuals have now been charged with attempted murder for throwing Molotov cocktails at police, and one of them, we now know, is an illegal alien from Mexico, and we're going to get to all of that. But first, a little bit of breaking news to start your show today. 242 people on board an Air India flight crashed in Western India. It was on its way to Gatwick in London. It crashed in a residential area 5 minutes after takeoff. The pictures from the scene are grim. The pictures from the scene would indicate there are likely no survivors. 242 people on board on their way to the UK. The plane has gone down in Western India. We'll have more on that coming up. Now, continuing with Los Angeles. Attempting to kill police officers isn't going to convince anyone that you belong in our country. What kind of unhinged strategy is that, by the way? California U.S. Attorney Bill Asaley announcing the charges with this message to Los Angeles. Listen.
I commend our prosecutors and our law enforcement partners for swiftly taking action against these individuals. Our community must be kept safe for peaceful protests and against thugs and criminals looking to start trouble. We expect more charges to be filed in the coming days and weeks. If you took part in these riots and were looking to cause trouble, we will come looking for you.
Yeah, we will come looking for you. These protesters say they're fighting for the rights of illegal aliens, but really, a lot of them are just stupid. Unemployed degenerates who are looking for a reason to make a mess. Some are getting paid They're telling us $150 to $200 a day because they're on TikTok. We'll dig into that later. And what does looting Adidas have to do with protesting ICE, by the way? How is stealing sneakers sending a message to Donald Trump that you want illegal aliens to stay in the United States of America that you hate so much? This is the exact same bull that we saw during the 2020 Summer of Love. These idiots defaced the beloved mural honoring Kobe Bryant and his daughter Gigi. Yeah, they don't care about L.A. They're not fighting for the rights of anyone. They're destroying a city because they can, at least for a moment. True residents of Los Angeles should be standing up to this and saying, stop it, no more. Instead, here are a pair of white liberals stopping traffic and arguing with a mother who is begging to go to work to feed her family. Listen to this.
How is this a peaceful protest if there's no peace? No, it's not.
How do you all as white people feel about stopping a black woman from going to work?
Oh no, not work. I care so much.
So you don't care about stopping black people from going to work?
Look at this line that you guys are causing. I'm not causing no problems. I'm not trying to. We're just trying to leave.
Oh no, work. They don't care at all. Oh no, work. Like I said, we're seeing unemployed freaks ruining the lives of actual employed Americans who are actually trying to contribute to society, all while screaming that illegal aliens are more important than you. It's insanity to find, and I remember when Democrats removed all the illegal aliens from Martha's Vineyard in less than 24 hours because they knew it too. It was fine then, but God forbid Donald Trump actually enforces federal law to do the same in Los Angeles. Not even 20 years. Not even 20 years. In 2007, Joe Biden knew then that nothing good came from sanctuary cities. He knew it. Here's a little flashback for you. Listen.
Would you allow these cities to ignore the federal law regarding the reporting of illegal immigrants and, in fact, provide sanctuary to these immigrants?
The reason the cities ignore the federal law
is the fact that there is no funding at the federal level to provide for the kind of enforcement at the federal level you need. Pick up the New York Times today. There's a city not far across the river from my state that imposed similar sanctions. And what they found out is, as a consequence of that, their city went in the dumps, in the dumpster. Stores started closing. Everything started to happen. And they changed the policy. Part of the problem is you have to have a federal government that can enforce laws.
Oh, really? You have to have a federal government that can enforce laws. What a concept. So what happened? What happened? We all know what happened. These guys figured they could import new voters by the millions with no vetting to help win elections, or rig them, as it were. And now they're defending the consequences of their despicable actions. Maxine Waters, 86 years old, says, "Don't believe your lying eyes. There's no violence in Los Angeles." Here she is.
And even those who were out of step with what we are advocating, peaceful protest, did not create any violence. Nobody was shot, nobody was killed. Get it in your head. And so when martial law is called, what are you going to say? I missed the point. Don't miss the point, you all. Don't think that somehow, because they called out the National Guard, there was violence. There was no violence. I was on the street. I know. And I went from downtown detention back out into the community, talking to people what happened in Paramount, what happened in Compton, what happened in Inglewood. So, first of all, get it straight. And don't just rely on what you're being told or the few incidents that you saw.
A few incidents. No violence. How stupid do they think we are? Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass says there's no crisis, just one manufactured by Washington. Yet listen to this.
There are people out there who say, well, the city of Los Angeles is harboring dangerous individuals.
No, I think that is fiction. Are there dangerous individuals that are here in Los Angeles? Yes. Are we harboring them? No. I think that the idea that what is going on here is chaos and we need federal intervention is just not accurate. It doesn't paint an accurate picture of what's going on here at all. And really what is going to help would be an end to the raids. For a city not to know when, where, how, or why raids take place, you can imagine that the entire population of immigrants is very unsettling. I also have to tell you an example of people who went to their annual appointments. You know, they're here legally, they have papers, they're supposed to check in with the immigration office once a year. Even they've been detained. So I don't think that there is a crisis here that is happening at all, except for one manufactured by Washington.
Yeah, one manufactured by Washington. She says she's not harboring dangerous individuals, and then she calls for an end to all ICE raids, the same raids that would help her remove those dangerous individuals that are putting her residents' lives at risk. We'll continue with this, and then I'm going to tell you about the TikTok effort. You've got coordinated messaging from TikTokers about, look, being in the country illegally is no more than jaywalking. That's the message out there. It's not true, of course. You know what's true? This is the best source for your morning news, The Steve Gruber Show. Yeah, harboring dangerous criminals. That's what they're doing in Los Angeles. On TikTok, by the way, if you don't support illegals, you're a bad person. They're comparing being in the country illegally to jaywalking. All of these influencers, they got the same talking points and they got the same check. The source of those checks is what I'm curious about. Source of the check is what I'm curious about. Democrats aren't just defending this insanity, they're encouraging it. The so-called No Kings rally slated for June 14th, that's Saturday, and is a Democrat-funded circus masquerading as a protest. It's going to be orchestrated violence, orchestrated by left-wing groups like Indivisible and the ACLU. More than 1,500 events are set on the calendar to disrupt President Trump's patriotic military parade, a celebration of America's 250th anniversary of the Army. These rallies, a kind of anarchist fantasy, intend to falsely paint Trump as a tyrant while ignoring his mandate to restore order. With millions in shadowy funding, they're going to push divisive anti-American rhetoric, more of it, and claim nonviolence, but I have a feeling we're going to be seeing more of what we're seeing right in Los Angeles. It's a desperate tantrum by elites and their minions in fear of a strong leader reclaiming the flag for true patriots. Even a Clinton-appointed liberal judge has sided with Donald Trump on the issuing the National Guard to Los Angeles. Judge Charles Breyer has rejected Newsom's pathetic bid to block Trump's L.A. National Guard deployment, citing Trump's clear authority under federal law to squash anti-ICE riots. Breyer refused an immediate injunction, scheduling a hearing to expose Newsom's weak case. This win proves Trump's bold leadership crushes Democrat chaos, restoring order while Newsom whines about tyranny to dodge his failures. Listen to this.
Donald Trump's government isn't protecting our communities. They're traumatizing our communities. And that seems to be the entire point. California will keep fighting. We'll keep fighting on behalf of our people, all of our people. And if some of us could be snatched off the streets without a warrant, based only on suspicion or skin color, then none of us are safe. Authoritarian regimes begin by targeting people who are least able to defend themselves, but they do not stop there. Trump and his loyalists, they thrive on division because it allows them to take more power and exert even more control. And by the way, Trump, he's not opposed to lawlessness and violence as long as it serves him. What more evidence do we need than January 6th?
Oh, boy. Really, Governor? You're going to play the January 6th card again? Don't you realize that Americans don't fall for that crap anymore? Yeah, we're not buying that. They're also not going to fall for the alligator tears over democracy. Come on. It's not going to stop Democrats from trying, though. It's not. They're going to continue to try to sell this swill. Here's more.
California may be first, but it clearly will not end here. Other states are next. Democracy is next. Democracy is under assault before our eyes. This moment we have feared has arrived.
Los Angeles is really not about immigration. This is not about policy. This is about power. We have a tyrant in the White House who has a complete disregard for our Constitution and the dismissing of our democracy.
We don't live in a democracy, clown. By the way, that's America's worst mayor, Brandon Johnson. Somehow, people in Chicago thought that guy was a good idea. Worst idea you've ever had. Lori Lightfoot was a better idea than that, and that's saying something. Here, let me share this with you for your consideration, right? The U.S. Oath of Allegiance, right? I want you to know what this is. I hereby declare an oath that I absolutely and entirely renounce and abjure all allegiance and fidelity to any foreign prince, potentate, state, or sovereignty of whom or which I have heretofore been a subject or citizen. You see, these cracks don't care about the Constitution. They don't care about the principles that built this great nation. They ignore the fact that the Founding Fathers wrote explicitly that any immigrant must, quote, absolutely and entirely renounce and abjure all allegiance and fidelity to every foreign prince, potentate, state, or sovereignty. Yeah, that's the U.S. Oath of Allegiance. Waving Mexican flags, burning American law enforcement vehicles. No, that's not it. And that oath of allegiance is what any naturalized citizen commits to. And that is not what we're seeing on the streets of Los Angeles and elsewhere. I want to point to what we are seeing, though. And that's a massive shift in the allegiance of actual legal immigrant voters. Legal immigrant voters. Massive shift. What do you think they're doing? Where do you think they're going? Who do you think they're supporting? Listen.
Start off on the fact that immigrant citizens, immigrant voters, foreign-born voters have gone tremendously to the right on this issue in 2024 and 2025 versus where they were in 2020. Closest to or trust more in immigration. You go back to 2020. Democrats, get this, held a 32-point lead on this issue. Immigrant voters were in the Democratic camp. Jump forward to 2024, 2025. Look at that shift, a 40-point shift to the right among immigrant voters. Republicans now lead on this issue by 8 points over Democrats, more so than any other group that I could find. The group of voters who became more hawkish on immigration were in fact immigrants themselves, immigrants who are registered to vote in this country.
Legal immigrants shifted 40 points. 40. It's incredible the Democrats sank their own ship. Does this mean maybe they'll decide they don't want to import millions of illegals anymore? Well, it would be a difficult about face for them, but these LA riots are a mess. Throwing Molotov cocktails at cops ain't winning hearts and minds. Real LA folks got to push back against this nonsense, even though they probably won't. Legal immigrants and even courts are backing Donald Trump and law and order. Democrats keep dodging the truth, but Trump keeps stepping up, ready to fix this with the law on his side. That's right, 40 points. You're still thinking about that, aren't you? Legal immigrants have shifted 40 points and are now Trumpians. They're MAGA folks. Legal immigrants have become MAGA folks. 40 points. Couldn't have predicted that, could you? I'll take a break and be right back.